We are now going to continue our series of discussions on the Urban-Suburban program. This time we're going to Fairport. Urban-Suburban is turning 50 years old this year. It actually started here in Rochester, and we're moving beyond the controversy. We have done many stories about the controversy and all that, but right now we just want to talk about the experience of Urban-Suburban in Fairport. So we have the principal of Fairport High School, Bob Clark. We also have a student, Maxine Bostick. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So we'll start with you, Maxine, if you don't mind. What has been your experience with Urban-Suburban?
I would say I've had an rewarding experience. I like the friendships I've made and like just the connections I've made in Fairport.
Yeah. How long have you been in, because some people start right at first grade.
Yeah.
Other people will come in 7th, 8th grade. When did you start?
I started in 3rd grade at Northside.
Was that a hard transition for you?
For me, it was because coming from the city, I was in a school with like all of my family. So being just isolated from them, I was just like by myself starting.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, how did it go over the course of 3rd, 4th, 5th grade?
It started out hard, but once a few months into the school year, I met friends and it just became natural for me.
What year are you now?
I'm a senior in high school.
A senior, congratulations.
Thank you.
She has a very big smile.
Do you know what you're doing after graduation?
I plan on going to the National Guard and then attending Cuca College.
Nice.
How cool is that? And Principal Clark, you have been there for a short time at Fairport. Mm-hmm. The feedback that I've gotten from other principals at other high schools that have Urban-Suburban is that a lot of times students don't even know who's Urban-Suburban and who's not. Has that been your experience as well?
Yeah, I don't think you could distinguish between the Urban-Suburban programs and quote-unquote regular Fairport kids. I think it, mostly because they're so involved, you know, and they bring such vibrance to, I mean, you see the smile, to the building. You know, they think that that's where the success lies, is how involved they are, whether it be sports or, you know, in this case, the yearbook and things like that.
Other communities have been considering this, and there's been a lot of input with a lot of different opinions. If you could maybe talk to the districts and the residents there who are considering it and maybe having some pause about it, what would you tell them?
You know, when it boils right down to it, all these kids, they're just normal kids, and they want to be a place where they want to be somewhere connected. I have to tell you, the first students to welcome me as a principal of Fairport High School were Urban-Suburban kids.
That's because they're there so early.
Well, this was actually on one of their bonding experiences.
Yeah.
We went on the senior trip to Boston, and we had such a great time bonding throughout that trip. And I have to tell you, you know, on a daily basis, you know, as you said, they're there so early. They're in the hallways. They're vibrant. You know, they're a part of the culture at Fairport. So when we have these things, many Raiders, one family. Now you probably heard that, or once a Raider, always a Raider.
Oh, yes.
I think, you know, in this case, you know, they kind of exemplify that.
Yeah, and Maxine, they talk about a cultural exchange with the Urban-Suburban program. Do you find that to be the case?
Yeah, I feel like we learn from them and they learn from us. Like, so it's like, so we won't go out in the world and be oblivious to the fact, to other cultures.
And maybe if there's a mom listening right now thinking, well, I have a child in the city school district, and, you know, should I put them in Urban-Suburban program?
Yes.
What would you tell that mom right now?
Yeah, definitely. I think just the experience from it and the connections they make is beyond words.
Do you keep contact with the folks that would be in your class if you were still in the city school district? Do you keep touch with them?
Yeah, I have a few friends in the city. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any particular experiences that you'd like to touch on that you think of and you're like, oh, you know, this is pretty representative of the program? Anything that comes to mind?
Not really. I think just overall, just like the connections I've made, and like, well, for me, I have a twin brother, and I compare our school lives, and it's different. I feel like I'm more involved than he is in his school, and I have more connections.
And is he still in the city school district?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Wow, what an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you both so much for coming on. And coming up in just a few minutes, we're actually going to continue this conversation with some more students from Fairport, 2 more students, and we're going to talk about a presentation, a program that you guys are doing. It's a great effort, and I want to talk about that as it relates to the Urban-Suburban program. So thank you both so much again.
Thanks for having us.
Be right back.